So, over the weekend, there was this amazing People's Justice Festival here in LA. It had many prominent local community leaders, and the main speaker was none other than Dr. Cornel West, who's running for president. I truly loved his speech, his manner with everybody, including me. I got a picture with him, and I posted a link to the whole speech below, which he delivered in the blistering heat. It was amazing. But what I want to talk about here are actually his polling numbers. Because to me, the numbers actually show that he could very well win the US presidency. And when I tell people that, they actually usually laugh, even if they support him. But I want everyone to remember how in 2016, the vast majority of people listened to corporate media, which told them that Trump would not win. But what happened? He won. So fast forward 7 years, and Dr. Cornel West is running. And even though there's a whole campaign ahead, I think the initial polling numbers are shockingly good for him. And we should not allow the corporate media to bury that fact. Let's look at this super interesting poll, which was actually taken at the end of June and released on July 3rd, right before the fireworks. More recent polls have actually been done, but they haven't included Dr. West in the questions they asked people. So this is the latest poll that we have to look at as of today, July 18th, 2023. So what the poll found is that among likely voters, so not just anybody, it's likely voters, look at these numbers. Look at the breakdown by age. Look at how voters in their 30s, the millennials, are saying they're going to vote. 8% of millennials are ready to vote for Dr. West. Look at voters aged 18 to 29. It's 7% ready to vote for Mr. West. And look at 40 to 49-year-olds. That's 6% are ready for Dr. Cornel West. Overall, 7% under 50 are saying that they would vote for Dr. West, the Green Party. And of course, to turn that 7% into a winning percentage, there's going to have to be a lot of work done. But I think 7% among young voters is a fantastic start. I mean, for comparison, let's look at the polling from 2016 for the Green Party's then nominee, Dr. Jill Stein. In the month before the election, she was polling at 2% among the same group of voters, the under 50 group of voters. So now, in the middle of 2023, with more than a year left on the presidential campaign, Dr. West is already at 7% with voters under 50, 8% with millennials specifically. A difference of 2% in the month before, as was the case with Dr. Stein, versus 7% for Dr. West more than a year of before the election happens. That's totally huge. Dr. West clearly has a real chance. He's been a major public intellectual and advocate for economic and social justice for decades. He's a really good candidate. And he's just going to keep getting more and more popular because more and more Americans, especially young Americans, are finding Biden to be unacceptable. In fact, right after the poll was released, West started trending on Twitter because he called out Biden for sending cluster bombs to Ukraine. He called it a war crime. Yes, absolutely. Regular Americans are tired of the bipartisan war machine. They're tired of the $1 trillion budget that just goes to the war, which of course comes with cuts to healthcare, to education, to help for veterans. All of that is adding, insult to injury. And that's why West is getting so popular. Now, of course, you might be having this type of dialogue with people around you, and they will say, oh, third parties can't win in the United States. Well, what's definitely true is that the political establishment and their media want people to believe that the political system is set in stone. But of course, it is not set in stone. They would know because they change it all the time to benefit themselves. But of course, the great thing that we are witnessing is that more and more voters are open to voting for a third party. I've been a third party voter most of my adult life, and that's because I know that in order to defeat the establishment, we have to think outside the box. We have to learn from places where this has actually worked. Uh, Places, countries that have actually overcome the political establishment. Look at not very far from the United States, look at Mexico. In 2018, the two established parties, the PRI and the PAN, they lost the presidency because the people figured out that both of them were corrupt. Both parties had an agenda of fooling the people, of stealing from the people, just like the two establishment parties that we have right here in the United States. Of course, the real tragic thing is that there's a lot of people out there who say they like West, but they don't want to vote for him because if they vote for him, that'll just help Trump. But actually, I think it's important that we realize it's the other way around. Biden's approval ratings are way down. He is not popular. He's lost a lot of people, a lot of groups. Young people, blue-collar workers, people of color, anti-war people, all sorts of people just don't want more of the same. Biden is honestly really only popular inside the bubbles of economic and social and political privilege. He is unpalatable, though, to most voters, just as Hillary Clinton was in 2016. So if what a person wants is to keep Trump out of the White House, what they have to do is vote for the only candidate who can actually defeat Trump, and that's Dr. Cornel West.